All right, welcome. Welcome to the Zod Cast. This is Mike, and we are the guys from Pop Culture Explosion, and I'm going to introduce Paul here. He's with me tonight.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
All right, we've been talking about doing this for a long time, so let's just jump into this. Paul, what are we talking about today?
Well, you and I were talking over the weekend about our frustration with Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
And this just sounds like a good thing to talk about tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go back. Let's go way back to the 70s, right? And why Star Wars matters, and then kind of take it through today and why it's just ruined, I can remember in the late 70s, my parents brought home the figures, like, the X-Wing, the Land Speeder, Leia, Luke, R2-D2, C-3PO, whatever. And that's what started the whole thing, right? And we used the figures as kids as a creative outlet, right? So that began the whole collecting of the toys. And some of the best toys, by the way, ever made. G.I. Joe also had the 3 3/4 inch. So, again, best toys ever made, right? And those movies, we lived them in our childhood. I mean, we were playing outside and, in the summertime. And I can remember seeing Return of the Jedi and, like, we were, I was Luke and, everybody else was, picked a character and all that stuff. So what happened after? I mean, so, that's kind of in a nutshell what it was for me. You had mentioned you also bought the figures. Tell me about that.
Well, yeah, of course I did. I was 7 years old when Star Wars first came out. I had all the action figures, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo. I remember one Christmas, all I wanted was the AT-AT. That's it.
Phenomenal toy.
That's all I wanted. I told my parents, or my grandmother, everybody, that's all I want. If that's the only gift I get, I'm happy. Uh-huh. And guess what? I got it.
Awesome. I mean, you feel like you're a rich kid, when you get something like that.
Yeah, and the other thing too, and I might be going off script here for a second, but when I was a kid, I had Yoda and I had the Emperor, and I can't tell you how many times I was doing sword fights with those two people, right? Because
yeah.
the Emperor was the shit on the dark side, and Yoda was the Grand Master on the light. And when I saw those two fight in Revenge of the Sith, I was in my early 30s. I was bawling. I was crying, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm 10 years old again, and this is happening." It was so amazing.
Well, and then something happened, right? After Return of the Jedi, nothing. And then the toy line, they made one last push with what they called the Last 17, which was the Power of the Force, the one with the coins, right? And those kind of died out, and then that was it. And it was, in 1995, I remember I was at band practice at my uncle's place, and we were in the basement, and I came up after break, and there was a Sears catalog on the ottoman in the living room, and I just was thumbing through it and looking at the toys and stuff, and I saw Millennium Falcon, Luke, Han, Chewie, the whole bunch, and I nearly fell out of the chair. I was like, what is this, Well, it turns out they wouldn't be released at the time. I think it was earlier than that because they came out in 95. So this was like a good year before maybe that, this was going to happen. So that started the whole other toy line thing, So it kind of reinvigorated the toys and everything, and the whole Star Wars thing. We were watching it again, but we wouldn't see another movie till 99. And I think this is where the problems begin, right? Like at the time, I mean, overall, obviously there's the big backlash with the prequels and Jar Jar Binks and the bad acting and the fake-looking backgrounds and all that stuff. But at the time, it was just because it was Star Wars, we were so jacked up about it, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it took me probably 3 years to realize Phantom Menace kind of sucked, you know. But we're caught up in the euphoria of Star Wars. You know, I remember I was with my ex-wife, and we're at this one movie. I don't know what movie it was, and then the George Lucas emblem came up for the trailer. And this is, of course, this is before the internet, so we had no idea this was coming out. And I think I had a small orgasm in my pants when I saw the George Lucas emblem. You know, because I mean, we waited what, like 18 years?
Yeah, it was a long time.
It was a long time. And the thing is, though, looking at that trailer now, there should be some huge red flags. I mean, the Gungans coming out of the mist, you know. But I didn't care.
Of course, I mean, and like if you take it back just a little bit, if you take it back, what pisses me off about the whole thing is like, you know, if you look at George Lucas's his filmography or his credits, what he was doing between then, and it was shit. I mean, he should have never stopped making Star Wars movies, whatever, you know, like in the 80s or whatever. He should have kept going. But then we get, you know, and I saw Phantom Menace 5 times in the theater. And now I think at the time I was drinking a lot, so maybe that kind of like, you know, like. Yeah.
Well, Mike, I'm drinking now, so it's all fair.
So, you know, like, and I had the PS1 game, you know, Jedi Power Battles and the actual Phantom Menace video game. So, you know, I was buying all the toys. So, like, I think at some point it was like a record scratching. Like, wait a minute. You know, because I went to see all the movies in the theater. The Clone Wars I only saw twice. You know, and
actually, I enjoyed the Clone Wars, and I really enjoyed Revenge of the Sith.
Oh well, back that up for a second. You're telling me, you know, this is the movie we're talking about where we get into the down and dirty of bad acting with Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman with the.
Well, yes, I mean sand is very annoying.
Yeah.
It gets everywhere.
No chemistry whatsoever. It's
so
awkward.
That though, but when you're in that arena pit and all the Jedis are lighting up their sabers. Come on, Mike.
You know,
I
didn't say there wasn't good things about it. You know, some of my favorite parts of that was, you know, Obi-Wan versus Jango. You know, that was great. Yeah.
Well, how about Yoda?
Yeah, Yoda and Dooku, right?
I mean, did your jaw not drop when Yoda turned into a literal Mexican jumping bean?
Yeah, I thought it was cool, but it is a little ridiculous. But
well, no, this is the power of the Force.
Mm-hmm. So you know we've kind of made it into the prequels, right? And I think if you watch Revenge of the Sith start to finish, it's pretty good. I mean, for what it is, it's a pretty good movie. I mean, and the lightsaber battle at the end is pretty freaking epic.
There are 2 lines in that movie that just really just get me. It's when Anakin goes to oh my God, what's his name? The one Jedi Master.
Mace Windu?
Yes, Mace Windu. And he confesses that Palpatine's the bad guy. And Mace Windu puts his hand on his shoulder. Thank you, I trust you now. I'm like, oh my God, that's just so bad.
It's so bad.
And then when it's like, he's too powerful to live, you know, right before, you know, Mace Windu gets shot out the window. I will give this to George Lucas. He creates an amazing world. I mean, he created an amazing universe, but he's just a god-awful screenwriter.
Well, the directing is terrible. I mean, you know, I don't think any one of those actors, save for maybe Hayden Christensen, not quite sure, but they're not bad actors by any stretch. You know, Samuel L. Jackson, you know, Ian McDermott. I mean, come on, those guys are veterans, and they just are very two-dimensional in those films.
And you know what? I'm even going to give Hayden Christensen the benefit of the doubt because he had some of the worst dialogue. And just because him and Natalie Portman had really bad chemistry, that can be the case with anybody.
Yeah, maybe they should have had them to, you know, rehearse quite a bit more to see how that would play out, you know.
Now physically, he did a great job. physically. The lightsaber fight between him and Ian McGregor was amazing. That, I mean, that lightsaber fight took hours, weeks to choreograph, and both of them nailed it.
So, I mean, so we know, overall speaking, I think the prequels were a disappointment in the way that it should have been a Darth Vader. If they were going to talk about Darth Vader, if that was going to be a Darth Vader trilogy, it should have been a Darth Vader trilogy. You know, he should have been in his suit and killing people. The 5 seconds we got at the end of Rogue One should have been a trilogy. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. If the first episode would have been about Anakin Skywalker, and then at the end of the first episode,
yes, exactly,
he turns into Darth Vader, and then episode 2 and 3 was just Darth Vader being a badass.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Why can't they give us that? Why can't they just do that? Do you know how many billions of dollars that could have made? I mean, at least $3 or $4 billion. Come on.
And the thing is though, the fans, and what really slowed down Lucas after the prequels was the hate that he received. And if he would have gotten, such admiration of, oh my God, that was amazing, we would have gotten episodes 7, 8, and 9 probably 5 to 8 years sooner.
Yeah. So we have that dumpster fire of prequels that I've learned to live with over the years. It's not too bad, but it's not what it should have been, like we just mentioned. That's what makes me so angry about it, as a fan or whatever. But, but it's not like it doesn't have good things about it. There's good things about Phantom Menace, I thought. The pod race was cool. The Darth Maul fight at the end was cool. We talked about some of the things about Clone Wars and Sith that were great.
And by the way, I mean, the prequel gave us the Clone Wars. And that was... I loved that animated series.
I couldn't get into it. I couldn't get into it. Once you get past the first season, it's amazing. I mean, there were moments of just pure excitement. Of course, I'm a whiny little bitch, so I do. I cried when Black Widow died. But yeah, there were some emotional moments in the Clone Wars, and I loved it. So it was great. See, I couldn't get past that first season. So, I you hear about stuff like Rebels and stuff, and it looks like there's some good stuff in there, but I just never got into any of that, and that sort of brings us to like the whole excitement with The Force Awakens, because we were going to get Han Solo again,
oh my God! Well, so now we're switching gears to the
last three.
And by the way, the one thing about Disney's Star Wars that I am so grateful for, that I am so just utterly grateful for, and I should send Bob Iger an email and say thank you, is I now appreciate the prequels so much more.
Exactly. Well, and here's the thing. Force Awakens, I probably saw, maybe 3 times. Literally was having a panic attack in the front row the first time I saw it when I knew Han Solo was probably going to die. I was thinking the other day, they tossed him over the rails like they just tossed that character in the trash, as far as I'm concerned. The new trilogy should have been all of the original actors for one last huge epic adventure. That's what that fucking should have been. And not these new characters. Nobody gives a shit about Rey and Poe and Finn and these characters. Don't care. And I can't stand Rey because I think that she is a terrible actress. She has like one face that she does. And then the way the character is written is, she can just do everything.
And Mike, let's not attack. What's her name?
Daisy Ridley. Am I attacking?
Ridley. No. Let's attack the character. I think Force Awakens just destroyed the trajectory of the entire series. They made this character, she's just awesome. She's awesome at everything. She fixed something in the Millennium Falcon that Han Solo didn't know about. She's an expert flyer. She's a badass fighter, even though she's had no training. She knows everything about the Force with no training. Example, she mind controlled that one stormtrooper. She was able to telekinetically summon that lightsaber, and she beat the living shit out of Kylo Ren, who was trained by the most powerful Jedi, Luke Skywalker, and Snoke.
It's just not believable at all.
That's the definition of a Mary Sue. And I sent you that, by the way. That video I sent you, you got to watch it.
And it's kind of proven that you're so excited when something comes out that you kind of can't see the forest for the trees type of thing. Like, oh, this is great, I love it. I mean, I even looked, at the wife when we saw Last Jedi when it was over, and we looked at each other like, yeah, it was pretty good. And it wasn't until a couple days later that I realized the dumpster fire I just witnessed. Things like Luke drinking milk from the teats of some sloth animal, and just making him completely changing his character. And I don't know.
So Force Awakens. When I first saw that movie, I saw it a couple of times in the theater as well. And it was that same euphoria that we experienced with The Phantom Menace. It's a brand new Star Wars movie. I was so excited when I heard that Disney purchased Lucasfilm because I based my experience on what Disney did with Marvel. And I'm thinking, oh my God, if Disney can do to Marvel and then they do it to Star Wars, that's going to be amazing. And Kathleen Kennedy... Ugh.
Well, that's a whole nother podcast right there.
I am not a violent man. I just want to what were you thinking, woman? I mean, they have this golden goose, and they just shit on it. So we talk about The Force Awakens. They established, Rey. I mean, she beats Kylo Ren in their very first conflict. What's the stressor? What does she have to overcome?
Well, you're not concerned about the character
nothing.
at all.
No.
They're like, oh no, she's going to die. None of that. It's just like, oh, okay.
No. So then after Force Awakens, after the movie, we kind of realized, okay, that wasn't JJ. And the thing is, though, JJ Abrams, all he knows is explosions. He doesn't know. I mean, look at Lost, for example. He doesn't know how to finish. He does not know how to finish anything.
Yeah, that's awful.
So Force Awakens.
Well, they played the safe route with that. They basically recreated A New Hope, as everybody pointed out.
I'm sorry. The Last Jedi.
Oh, with Rian Johnson, that's that dumpster fire. You know what it is? It's not so much for me like that they made changes to like Luke's character or whatever. It's just the script is bad. Okay, the decisions don't make sense. There's just so much garbage happening there. Why wouldn't the purple hair Laura Dern's character why wouldn't she just tell Poe what they were doing? It made no sense.
Because men are bad and women are good. I mean, it was such a Rian Johnson, and I'm going to go political for a second. He definitely went down the path of women are right, men are wrong, and Lauren Dunham.
You're talking about Laura Dern?
Hair, yeah, her too. I remember leaving that theater, and I went with my dad and my two daughters. And Danielle, we're walking. Danielle looked at me. She's like, "Dad, did you like that movie?" And I mean, she questioned it. And I looked at her and I just said, "I don't know." And then I'm driving home with Christine, and the more I'm thinking, the angrier I got. I was so angry with The Last Jedi.
Well, and the disconcerting thing here is that was the reaction that Rian Johnson was going for. He wants to make. He's in an interview saying he wanted to make a movie that half of the people are going to hate it, and be upset about it, and he achieved
Why?
that goal.
I saw that same interview that you're talking about, and my first question is what? Why would that be your goal? I mean, why do you want
He's
to
a nut
create?
job.
I
You
mean,
do that. You do that with an art film or something. You don't do that with a $1 billion franchise. Sorry, that's an idiotic decision. I can't believe got past Kennedy and Iger.
well, actually, Kennedy probably
Oh
endorsed
yeah, I
it
know.
because she loves Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, let's be
Well,
edgy. Let's be different. And I don't mind edgy, different. Let's go in a different path. But this I just didn't enjoy.
they weren't being edgy; they were being political. There was definitely a message being shown in that movie. I mean, look at Finn. I mean, Finn's character, he's a joke. He does nothing productive.
Oh, you're talking about the side mission or whatever to that
Oh
casino
my
planet.
god!
I was like going to take a nap. I mean, like really. And then Benicio del Toro's character. I mean, that was a joke.
And look at Poe. I mean, Poe is the Han Solo of this series, and he was completely and utterly neutered. He was neutered by the Admiral, and Princess Leia or General Leia stunned him. Completely.
Well, and
neutered.
the way those characters were written, like Finn and Poe or whatever, are just so underutilized too. They could have been so cool. They started off good, I think, in Force Awakens, but this movie was a dumpster fire. And which brings me to the third film that's coming out here soon. What's the sell point?
Well, no,
Lando?
let's talk
We've got Lando.
No. We missed a movie, and that was the Han Solo movie.
Which I enjoyed. For what it was and how terrible it was and how nobody wanted it and all that other crap that went along with it, I enjoy that movie. It's lighthearted. It's as close as I'll ever get to what I wanted to have, even though it is what it is. I mean, they should have used Harrison Ford and just made him look young like they do now. They can easily do now.
Deep fake is a thing. I watched that with you, Mike. We watched it together. And
Yes.
I have to admit, it's not a bad movie. It was actually entertaining. I agree 100%. I thought the whole shower scene between Chewie and Han was kind of awkward. But we can thank The Last Jedi for the revolt and the loss of money for Solo.
Yeah, and then and subsequently losing any spin-off films. I mean, did you hear after Episode 9, they're going to shut Star Wars down for a few years?
I'm okay with that.
We were supposed to get a couple movies a year, which, at the stuff that they're producing, I'll just take a pass. But
we have D&D, the atrocious writers for Game of Thrones was going to do a trilogy.
which they're out now, right? That's last
I'm happy to say that.
Yep.
Ryan Johnson's trilogy is out.
I heard. Last I heard with that, that they were still talking about it.
Nope. He's done. He's out. I'll shoot some articles, Mike. But here's the sad state of Star Wars. Top tier people are running away from Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, D&D, they chose to work with Netflix over Star Wars. That's the state of Star Wars at this moment. Top tier talent are running away from it.
Well, there you have it. So what else have we got? We got Rogue One, which I was extremely pissed off about.
Oh my God, I love Rogue One.
Well, and we've said this before in some on the PCE channel, but to me, Rogue One was sold to me that there would be a bit more of Darth Vader in there than actually ended up in there, right? So at the end of that movie, I was pretty pissed off because I didn't get as much of the Darth Vader that I wanted. And then you have a bunch of throwaway characters that you don't really care about.
Well, yeah, because they all died.
However, decent movie, had some cool fan service in there. I like seeing those homages to A New Hope, character-wise and that sort of thing. So it's not a bad movie. It's just I was pissed off because they tried to sell me on Darth Vader being in it. Which he does have the badass scene, but still doesn't make up for that.
I understand that your expectation was not met with Darth Vader. But come on, Mike, the last 30 minutes of that movie between...
No, it's great. I won't argue that.
Yeah, and I think the most rewarding thing for me in cinematic history was Darth Vader in that corridor.
Yes. Yeah.
Just blew me away.
The badassery.
Right, so we have one last movie coming up, and then we're going to be saying goodbye to Star Wars for a while.
Well, at least on the big screen. I mean, I'm pretty excited. Tomorrow, Mandalorian is out.
Oh, right.
November 12th, tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go watch episode 9.
See, I am, because I'm going to stand up and boo in the theater. That's my mission. That's what I'm going to do. I can't wait to do that.
I will not give $1 for Disney for that movie. I will not see it in the theater. I will not.
Well, someone else is already going to pay for it for me. I'm not paying for it.
Okay, well, that's cool. There's nothing compelling for me to watch that movie. I mean, Princess Leia is still alive, but Carrie Fisher's dead. So I don't know how they're going to do that.
She'll probably get a 2-minute scene that was on the cutting room floor from the last one.
Luke Skywalker is going to be a ghost. And how the hell do we get Palpatine? How does he come back?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
He blew up.
He's dead.
He's dead. So here's my prediction with the Rise of Skywalker. Kylo Ren is going to become a good guy. Somehow he's going to become a good guy. Him and Rey are going to fight Palpatine. And Palpatine is going to kill Kylo Ren. And then Rey is going to go badass good girl.
Rey's going to kill the Emperor.
And she's going to curb stomp the Emperor.
I mean, what other logical ending is there?
That's the ending. And you know what? Palpatine died. He was an epic bad guy. And I have no interest in seeing some Mary Sue beat the living shit out of him.
Oh, I can't wait.
I have no interest in that.
I'm going to complete this dumpster fire and with 2 middle fingers. And I'm not going to pay for it.
Well, you are a stronger man than I.
You should go too, and I think I got a gift card laying around or something. We could both sit there and just boo the whole time.
I would just laugh. So, but I will admit though, I am looking forward to Mandalorian.
Yes, there is really still good in Star Wars. I feel when you see the IG-88 character, or if that's even that same character from whatever, but. From Empire Strikes Back, whether it is or not, it's still cool to see that and some of the other bounty hunter races.
No, he looks like a total badass. I mean, he's firing in 360 degrees. I mean, just all around him. He's just... It looks amazing. The Mandalorian. What I'm excited about is we're going to see the potential that Boba Fett should have shown.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm excited about.
All right. Well, I think this sums up our trashing of the Star Wars franchise. Felt good to get that out at least. And
you're such an incel man, baby, Mike.
Paul, I don't even know what that means, but
well, the
and I'll save you from explaining it to me.
Thanks.
Hey, I survived the 80s, man. That's all that matters.
This was fun. I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Zod Cast.
You know what? I'm not excited. I'm disappointed. I'm angry. It's it's kind of like your favorite sports team, right? People say that if you don't like Star Wars, why complain about it? You know what? I'm a huge fan, and when I see my team going down a really bad path, I'm gonna critique it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can only catch lightning in a bottle so much, and Star Wars captured our childhood, but if you stay too long at the party, it's going to get ruined, and that's kind of what they've been doing over the years. And there's some good moments, but I think they should have just left it be. So, with that being said, peace
Peace
out.
out.